So what is the political climate like on Capitol Hill this morning, and what are our local lawmakers saying? We put our calls out to our representatives. Right now we have Congressman Brian Bilbray joining us on the phone. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
Hey, we talked about a week ago. You weren't a very optimistic person at the time. Has anything changed?
Well, I mean, at least finally Harry Reid has come up with some proposal that he's talking about bringing forward. So at least we've got something from the Senate side. And in all fairness, the president's talked about it, but he hasn't presented a plan yet. You know, he's talked about eliminating the jet credit, which I can totally agree with. That was part of his stimulus package. I think he realized later that he stuck that in there. Eliminating ethanol subsidies, all that can be done, but he's talked about it, but there's no written plan, something you can vote on. And the problem is, in Congress, we need to have a bill. We need something that in text that can be read for 3 days by the American people before we start voting on something. And at least John Boehner has presented that. And what I'm really surprised is that out of 83 freshmen who swore not to vote for the debt, raising the debt limit, 80 of them have agreed to do it. So I'm just really surprised that many freshmen were willing to come across the aisle and be willing to, meet somebody halfway and say, I'm willing to vote for raising the debt limit if you're willing to make the cuts so that we don't have to do this again.
The president last night in his speech saying that basically if Republicans get their way, he once again threatened that Social Security would be in jeopardy, veteran benefits. What's your reply to that?
Oh, come on. Even Dennis Kucinich, who's so far to the left that he runs into Ron Paul, made it clear the president was way off base on that because Social Security has its own trust fund. Everybody knows that. It's, there's a revenue source for Social Security. So to use that as a scare tactic even got those on the left really upset with the president, who's sort of scrambling here, and he's trying to learn. I mean, he's never done this before. You got to remember, the president stood up in real opposition to raising the debt limit when he was a senator the last time this issue came up. So he's really in a bad position trying to put together the team. And it looks like Harry was trying to work with John, but the goal now is not raising the debt limit to address the problem. The goal now seems to be to raise it until the next election so the politicians can get elected again. And I don't think that long-term, the definition of long-term is the next election. I think long-term is the next generation, and I wish the president would be shooting for something that will last for the next generation, not just until he's reelected.
We've been told that the phones are lighting up in Washington. How about your office? Are you getting a lot of calls?
Oh, yeah, we're getting a lot of calls, both sides. You know, I've got a district that looks at both sides of the issues, and that's appropriate. But, we knew this was coming down. This has been there for 2 years, and I understand why Speaker Pelosi didn't ask for the vote last year before the election, because she was worried about the political repercussions on our people. But after the election, we came back in November, December, was sitting around with nothing to do, and she could have brought it up then, except you see this cynical move of, okay, well, we'll dump it in the next guy's lap. And I think that John Boehner is trying to not do that this time. He's saying, look, let's do what we can until January, and then between January and now, we'll work out a long-term agreement that will not last to just election time, where we've got to confront this again, but it will last to the next generation. And finally, for once, work this thing out.
All right, Brian, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll talk to you very soon with an answer to all of this.
Thank you. I hope we get it done so we can come home and get out of this terrible weather and get back to paradise.
All right, thank you so much, Representative Brian Bilbray.